The eCom Q4 Summit was created to prove that any seller can experience a highly profitable fourth quarter with access to the right tips, strategies, and techniques. There's no need to struggle trying to figure out what to sell, where to find it, or how much to list it for. The summit covers everything from sourcing to listing to marketing and streamlining your operations. It doesn't matter if you're selling on one platform or multiple platforms like Amazon, eBay, Shopify, Walmart. And it doesn't matter if you're a new seller or an experienced seller. The information in the summit will help you get sale after sale after sale after sale during the busiest shopping season of the year, if you take massive action. So welcome to the eCom Q4 Summit.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get our presentation started. Thank you so much for joining. The eCom Sellers Summit has been packed full of valuable information, excellent presentation, content. And I'm hoping that you won't overlook the information I'm going to provide in today's session, focusing on Canada. My name is Pauline Prince, and I'm very excited. If you haven't been introduced to Canada as a place to sell your products or sell products, I'm definitely going to do that today. And in addition to that, I'm going to introduce Canada to you as a source of products. You may have listened to prior sessions in prior summits. So you may have listened to one of my presentations in the past. This definitely is slightly different, but you can glean a lot from what I've said previously. I'm adding to it in this session. Once again, my name is Pauline Prince, and I have a long corporate career in both in Canada and the United States. I've had the privilege of living and working in both countries. I'm Canadian by birth, and I am back in Canada after spending some time in the US. I've been selling on Amazon since 2014 and started with Amazon US, like many of you, but realized, wow, I can expand internationally with my Amazon business. Certainly with the advent of Walmart as a third-party seller platform and so many others, like whether you're somebody that sells your products or products from a Shopify store or any e-commerce site. Maybe you sell on Etsy, maybe you're an eBay seller, but you have noticed, you know what, there's a population of people in Canada too that have expressed interest in my products, or they're already buying from you. And you're wondering to yourself, wow, how do I scale that up? Well, I'm also the founder of Canada Prep and Fulfillment. We have 2 locations in Canada, in Toronto, and as well in Vancouver. So, of course, if you live somewhere on the East Coast of the United States, or you're more geared to that Atlantic Ocean, Toronto probably sounds pretty familiar to you. If you're very US West Coast or Asia Pacific, then Vancouver sounds even more familiar to you. So we are positioned as a prep center in very convenient locations in the country. My experience, as well as the presence of Canada Prep and Fulfillment, really arms me to provide some very valuable information to you, but also to bring solutions to you that would help you expand your business beyond what you're doing now, and also to help expand your sourcing of products. So let's go. So the first question I like to ask people is, are you selling in Canada? And for me, I'm certainly biased. The answer to this question really is you should be. If you're not, you should be. Um, you're leaving money on the table. Some people are very nervous about expanding their business internationally. If you started, especially if you started selling first in the United States, whether you live there or not, um, the next progression to that and the easy next step would be Canada. Why? We'll cover that. One of the things that we've noticed in the last, I'd say, 3, 4 years and longer is that it's now harder and harder to make decent profits selling on Amazon in the United States. All of you, I'm sure if you're already selling on Amazon in US.com, you have experienced very high levels of competition amongst sellers. Unfortunately, there's been a huge price slashing, race to the bottom, price wars. There really is a large population of sellers on .com. And by and large, really all these third-party sellers have identical access to retail arbitrage as well as online arbitrage source products. So if you go to Walmart to source products to sell on .com, well, there are a lot of Walmarts in the US. And so you have a lot of competition just by virtue of sourcing from where everyone else is sourcing and has easy access to. That's just not Walmart, it's Target. It's even some of the suppliers that are more along the lines of wholesalers or distributors. There's stiff competition to gain those accounts. And pretty well, with such a large population of sellers, you're finding a lot of people have the same ideas you have. So unfortunately, that means some of these wholesalers or distributors are really limiting how many accounts they'll open. So it's getting more and more difficult to get approved for some wholesale accounts. Not impossible, it's just more and more difficult, more hoops to jump through. And then, of course, you're not completely eliminating some strong competition, it's still there. So more often than not, you're going to require some innovation. On .com right now, you need to be creative. So that may mean you're bundling products that are sourced from different places. So another third-party seller would have a little bit more work to do to match that listing. Even so, your innovative listing, which may be a bundle of products or a product you found it a little bit more challenging to source, that listing may, your exclusivity on that listing may be short-lived because everyone is out there looking for an opportunity to be on a low competition listing that has decent profits and frequency of turnover. So there's that. The other problem you're probably experiencing on .com is Amazon's increasingly restrictive policies, massively impacting third-party sellers. So the net result of all of these things is that profit margins have been under severe pressure. So what used to be very, very profitable selling experiences on .com are much more challenged, where you may be making some really nice sales. So your sales numbers look great. When you look at the net profit that you're generating from those sales, it's much less than it once was, which is such an unfortunate thing. One of the reasons in looking at this myself over time, the reasons for this present reality in my mind is that you're sourcing your products from the same places as everyone else to sell on the same marketplace as everyone else. There's no way to sidestep that competition. You can run, but you can't hide if you're going to the same place as everyone else. Meanwhile, and here we go with the Canada introduction. Meanwhile, in Canada, you have a population of over 38 million people. Yes, that is a lot fewer people than are in the United States, but that works in your benefit when you also consider that Canada is a much larger country geographically in terms of physical size of the country than the United States. Meanwhile, we have less than 20% of the US population size. What that means is the brick and mortar retail coverage in Canada is heavily challenged. The big city centers like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal uh, have a decent concentration of brick and mortar retail. That is not true for the rest of the country. Even Walmart, Canada, does not have sufficient brick and mortar coverage in Canada. Canada also has a high level of consumer products that are imported. Why is that? We, with a low population, are not going to produce all of the products that we need. Uh, with our geography, we're certainly not going to grow all of the products that we consume. There's limits to what can be grown, at our northern location. We produce a lot of food ourselves for sure, but there's food that has to be imported. And definitely when it comes to manufactured products that, non consumable products, a lot of that is imported. And once you have imports, you have a stronger tolerance for higher prices because there's tariffs on imports, meaning taxes, duties that are added. So naturally, those products are going to be priced much higher than a domestically grown product or domestically produced product. The good thing is that because we have access to all the US television programming, along with all those commercials and ads, Canadians have very high brand awareness to the same brands that US consumers have. So our tastes are very similar, driven by that, the marketing and advertising that's done here. Um, as well, really Canadians in the populations and the communities and the nationalities that have populated the country, uh, we are essentially cousins to the Americans. So we are very similar holidays, similar traditions. So you have a lot more knowledge of Canadian demand than you may realize. Uh, what you know of the US marketplace, what you know of US consumer demand, you can extrapolate that and pretty well have a very good idea of what Canadians like and are looking for. The wonderful thing about Canada as well is the strong uptake of Amazon Prime membership. Uh, for Canada, meaning Amazon Canada, 60% of all Amazon Canada users are Amazon Prime members. That's an excellent opportunity for sellers leveraging FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. Uh, you know as well as I do that Amazon Prime membership means that you you virtually have a captive audience. Once you have that membership, your knee jerk reaction is to always look to Amazon first when you're looking to purchase or even research something. But at the same time, what's really crazy in the selling community is that there still has been a widespread ignorance of how viable the Canadian marketplace is. Back in the day, there was the assumption and presumption that Amazon Canada, yeah, that's okay, but you can't really make profits because it's so expensive to get your products into Canada. Yeah, it's okay, but um, things don't sell frequently, they don't sell quickly. You could look at the listings in the Amazon catalog and the ranks look horrible. Like there's no way it's viable to sell in Canada. We'll talk more about that a little further in the presentation. But the wonderful thing about all of that is that the selling community ignoring the viability of the Canadian marketplace means that anyone that tunes into it as a seller and gives it a go, actually takes a look, does their research, gets some of the information that I'm sharing in here. Because, truth be told, somebody really has to expose you to this, because whether you're selling in the US or Canada or Mexico or Brazil or the UK, the people that are actually in those marketplaces do have a more intimate view of that market and have tips and tricks that you would not automatically know until you delve into it. And you also get a little bit of help from those people with the knowledge. So that's what we hope to do here today. So you'll have lower competition selling on Amazon Canada, or selling in Canada, period, just because there's so few sellers that figure out how to navigate it or even perceive it as a good opportunity. And to that point, there's a lot of you that sell to Canadians that are purchasing. Um, Maybe you have merchant fulfill offers on your .com store, or even you have your own e-commerce site, whether that's Shopify or another site. Maybe you're selling on eBay and you find that, wow, there's a decent amount of Canadians that purchase my products, and you have to go through the hurdle of shipping to them cross border, etc., to deliver it, to have it delivered to them. Well, if you had boots on the ground in Canada, all of that fulfillment to your Canadian customers would be a lot easier and less expensive. So, Amazon Canada, if we're focusing there, I know that we referenced eBay, Walmart, Etsy, Shopify, other e-commerce stores. This presentation, we are having an Amazon bias, but you can definitely see where this applies to other marketplaces as well. Um, Amazon Canada really has not enough sellers on it. There's few or no FBA, um, or there's few Canada-based FBM offers on listings. If you toggle over, you use your seller app and you toggle over to the Amazon Canada store, you will immediately notice, if you query any listings perhaps that you're already selling on .com in the US, you'll notice, wow, okay, there's not many sellers on these listings, or the sellers that are there are really US based FBM offers. And then you may also notice, wow, these bestseller ranks are terrible. This could not be a good marketplace to sell on. Well, the reality is, if there's few sellers, there's few or no FBA offers, or maybe there's few or no Canada-based FBM offers, which means the product is already physically in Canada and therefore can be shipped using Canada's postage carriers to deliver quickly to the Amazon customer, which means those offers will be deemed much more attractive by the Amazon bot, because it would be a speedier fulfillment experience for that Amazon customer. Because of, we talked about Canadians being so used to products being imported or not widely available because huge country, low population, not a great coverage with brick and mortar to most of the population throughout the country, higher selling prices, um, higher profit margins, lower competition. So you need to become that seller that's selling on Amazon Canada. And you need, ideally, to be selling from within Canada. And we'll talk more about that. So, sell in Canada. Expansion is not as hard as you think. Your Amazon account, because so many of you with your Amazon account already started with Amazon US. What you don't realize is with that approval, you were also granted Amazon Canada, Amazon Mexico, because what you truly have is a North America account. That means that to activate Canada or Mexico for that matter, you would simply be going into your Amazon Canada in Seller Central and ensuring that you're updating your address to reflect whatever your address is. You would set a deposit method and a charge method, and that would trigger your Canada account to activate essentially, so that you would be able to start um, adding listings, um, adding things to your inventory so that you can create shipping plans, FBA shipments, make FBM, list FBM offers, etc. So I noticed you'll see Amazon Brazil is also there. That is also a part of, it's in the background. It's also a part of the Americas. So it's a wider umbrella being the Americas account. I won't go into depth in this presentation about that. But as you can see, with that one monthly fee that you're paying, it covers all of these marketplaces. So you're not gonna, if you're paying $39.99 a month for your Amazon US, you're not gonna pay anything extra to also be selling on Canada. That $39.99, if that's the fee you're paying, that's what I'm paying. It covers all of these countries. You may be asking yourself, what on earth can I sell in Canada? Well, you know what? Everything. Start with the knowledge you have of the US and that you've gleaned on Amazon.com to kick off your Canada store. If you're somebody that's been selling on Walmart in the US as a third-party seller, if you have your Walmart account, Walmart Canada account opened for selling, they are in desperate need of sellers. And so every category you can think of is in need. If a product is popular in the United States, it's probably in demand in Canada. Like I said, we get this exposure to the same marketing, the same advertising. So the Canadian tastes or desires for products, very similar, if not identical in a lot of cases. In general, as you may have realized by now, Canadian retail stores, these are the brick and mortar stores, we don't get the product variety you enjoy in the United States in our brick and mortar stores. We also don't get the quantity that would suffice for the entire country. So what we have discovered is that there's a lot of room to bring those products to market online. Whether, like I said, that's Amazon, it's Walmart, it's your eBay store, and listings that you've created geared to or targeting Canadian customers on eBay, or you have an Etsy store, you have any other kind of e-commerce store, as I said earlier. You just really have a wide open opportunity. It's in every category you can think of, especially with the experience here in Canada with the pandemic. Behavior has really changed. Here in Canada, we experienced a lot more restrictions and lockdown than in the United States. So we have spent most of the last 2 years locked down. So buyer behavior has really changed. Everyone is really shifted to doing a lot of online purchasing, much more than before. Already had a wonderful trend before the pandemic. Now that's locked in behavior. It's not going to revert back after all of the restrictions have lifted. So definitely online purchasing. People are just like, I'm not going out there to some store that may or may not have what I'm looking for, probably won't. have what I'm looking for. I'm just going to go to Amazon. I'm just going to go to Walmart. I'm just going to go whatever website and source um, and purchase what I'm looking for as a consumer. So you really you choose the method, right? So you can do, and again, I'll address this later in the presentation. Even if you're not here in Canada yourself, you can do retail arbitrage here um, through a shopping service, and we can certainly connect you with one. Online arbitrage, of course, no brainer. Wholesalers, distributors, they're all here, and not hit hard by sellers because everyone's looking for the U.S. Um, contact point for a specific distributor or wholesaler to do their sourcing. Well, so many of those distributors, so many of those wholesales have a Canadian counterpart. Um, why not source from the Canadian counterpart in order to sell in Canada? There's a lot of in-demand popular products, popular brands, just hot products during the very, the seasons. We see there hot products that emerge. There's so much to address, but in a nutshell, your .com um, popularity is there. .ca popularity would be there, but the product may not be. So in demand, but not available for purchase. That is a recipe for success for a seller. And again, because you're able to charge much higher prices, higher profit margin. If you need examples, pick some products that you're currently selling in the US. Do the research on what those same products are selling for in Canada. So what I'm asking you to do today is to expand your thinking and your business beyond the US, beyond Amazon US. And I encourage you to start with Canada. You don't have to be living in the United States or Canada to do this. So the focus needs to be on year-round results. This isn't a Q4 thing. It's not a seasonal thing. It's every day. As I mentioned, the pandemic really changed behaviors where people are just much more enamored of purchasing online because for a time it was the most viable way to purchase. Um, and on top of that, with some of the supply chain challenges that are a reality for now, it's a good idea to adjust your strategies and also um, implement extra options for your selling business so you don't have all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify your selling business. Now, what we're focusing next on in terms of Canada is sourcing in Canada. Very important. Um, with one of the realities that we have experienced, especially in the last year, um, are challenges with the Canada-US border. And whether that's importing to Canada or exporting from Canada into the United States, um, both both governments have really tightened things and made it a lot more challenging. So it's not that imports and exports are not happening. Of course they are. It's just that with some of the challenges, um, it may take longer. There are delays. There are new rules that seem to crop up overnight, which the authorities may or may not be prepared for. That causes delays. New hoops to jump through, um, fewer resources in terms of trucks and drivers. That's been a problem throughout the greater part of the pandemic because of the shipping delays, the lack of container ships. or space on container ships. Like it's a big snowball effect. So the realities that we're facing means, um, yes, import to Canada to sell in Canada, but you need to make sure you're diversifying and adding to what you're doing by sourcing within Canada. So source products from suppliers that are already here in Canada, whether they're retailers, online retailers, brick and mortar retailers, or they're wholesalers, distributors. They've already done the importing. So they've already jumped over the hoops of the border and the duties and taxes and all of that. So if you're sourcing from a supplier within Canada, all that you're focused on is getting your product to market, and you are sidestepping the bulk of those costs that if you were bringing it in yourself from outside of Canada, you would definitely be dealing with the duties and taxes. But you would not be, being that you're not at a wholesaler brick, big box retailer level, be able to get the costs, the purchase prices that a big volume buyer would. So let them bring it in to Canada and you buy it from them. It's a lot less still than if you had to bring it in yourself. So you're reducing costs. So now you still have the high selling prices of the Canadian products, but you've reduced the costs of getting the product to market, and you've reduced the time it takes to get to market, meaning to the customer, because you're buying it from a supplier already here in Canada, and it's getting to your customer much more quickly. It doesn't have to come across a border, transport via truck, whatever delays that may introduce. Um, it's avoiding all of that. So get set up. Don't just sit there. We'll help you get started. As I mentioned, I'm the founder of Canada Prep and Fulfillment, and among the many things that we do, we also help you to get started in Canada. If you are not a Canadian resident, then your business, whether you're a sole proprietor or you are a corporation, LLC, partnership, for best results, you need to have Canada, the government of Canada, assign your sole proprietorship, your LLC, corporation, partnership, whatever it may be, assign you a Canada business number. This does not create a tax obligation in Canada. What it does is gives you a registration of your business to do business in Canada, whether that's and even also import to Canada or export from Canada. There's no cost to do that. It is a very simple form that you complete and you send in to the Canada Revenue Agency. And we provide you with all the information and the form and the instructions on how to get that done very quickly. We also help you in terms of, you would have a Canadian business delivery address. Of course, the Canada Prep and Fulfillment warehouses that are in Toronto and Vancouver, and therefore you also would have a Canadian contact phone number. Essentially, what you would be able to do is to start or expand your business in Canada hands-free. So online arbitrage, you're sourcing from Canadian retailers, wholesale sourcing. I strongly suggest that you grab a couple of the products that you are currently selling in the United States. And as an exercise, find out who the Canadian distributor is for those, because absolutely there is a distributor here in Canada for it. So instead of thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to have to source it from the US wholesaler and send it to Canada, there may be already a distributor here Or there may be some big box retailers that already bring it in. Or they may be obscure retailers that are not, no one ever thinks about, or you would not know about, that have that product available for sale in the retail location, whether online or brick and mortar. And therefore, you would be able to source it in that retail arbitrage or online arbitrage method from within Canada. And lastly, as I mentioned, the retail arbitrage option is absolutely on the table. We do have a shopping service available. So if there are products that you find that are not available as an online at an online source, we definitely can connect you with the shopping service so that you are able to take advantage of the retail arbitrage opportunities. Now, I know what you're thinking. You have some questions, but what about Amazon Canada registration? So as I mentioned earlier, done deal, you're actually already registered with Amazon Canada. If you are looking at Walmart Canada, now that you would have to get connected with Walmart Canada and go through their registration process, which is a lot more complicated than Amazon Canada. I'm not the specialist on the Walmart Canada front. I know that there are others that have presented not only this summit, but in prior summits on Walmart Canada and how to get registered and get started there. You're also wondering, okay, what about Canada government stuff? Well, the Canada business number, as we said, piece of cake. It's not creating a tax obligation. It's getting your business acknowledged as a business so that you can easily operate here in Canada. That also includes you being able to, for wholesalers and distributors, they often ask for your Canada business number. And so you'd already have that in your back pocket. So we provide you with the guidance you're going to need to get your Canada business number. Very easy. Sales tax and business or corporate income tax registration. That's the next biggest question. Now, I am not a tax professional and I cannot provide you with tax advice. But to answer the question you have about whether you need to immediately register with the Canadian government for sales tax or for business corporate income tax, it's optional until you reach $30,000 Canadian in revenue, so in sales, in the prior 4 calendar quarters. If you look back 4 quarters, has your sales exceeded 30,000 Canadian dollars? At that, once you do reach that threshold, then the Canadian government says you do need to register with us for sales tax purposes and for corporate income tax purposes. What that means is they would be adding the sales tax account and corporate income tax account underneath your Canada business number. So it wouldn't be a big, huge step to make that happen. It's just a matter of now contacting the Canada Revenue Department and saying, I think I'm ready for a sales tax account. I think I'm ready for a corporate income tax account. Canada, in talking with the Canada Revenue Agency, focused on people that are especially non-resident businesses, meaning your business was originally registered in some other country than Canada. When you reach the 30,000 Canadian level, it is their estimation that you would benefit on the sales tax side by registering for sales tax because you would be able to offset some of the sales tax you've paid to vendors here in Canada, including Amazon Canada and in the FBA fees, against the sales tax you've collected when you make sales. So until you reach that 30,000 mark though, Canada Revenue is saying it's too much of a hassle. for you to be remitting any sales tax to us or filing any sales tax. And by the way, for Canada, sales tax is calculated and reported once a year at the federal level. That means you're only dealing with Canada revenue. You are not filing separately with each of the Canadian provinces or territories. So let's go. Expand your business. Like I said, if you're not believing me, open your Amazon seller app and just toggle between the countries. Look at some products on the US side and then just toggle over to the Canada account and take a look at those products. The ASINs may not be the same, so don't expect them to be, because Amazon does not require the ASIN to be the same in different marketplaces. So, do your searches based on the product title or some sort of wildcard search. UPC is not the best search method, only because not all listings have the barcode information, the UPC code on the listing. So you would just miss all of the listings that may exist. But because the UPC code is not on the listing, you wouldn't see it. I suggest that you look at all the product categories. Don't assume, don't prejudge. Just make it your routine to always check on Amazon Canada. And allow Canada Prep and Fulfillment to help smooth the way for you to streamline your business. This was the driving force behind the founding of Canada Prep and Fulfillment. I had returned from working and living in the United States, and coming with me back to Canada, of course, is my Amazon business. And I immediately realized, wow, there are almost no prep centers here in Canada. The US has a ton. Here in Canada, not so much. A lot of fulfillment offerings. Not many operations here are willing to deal with Amazon. And I'm sure you can guess why. So we are your boots on the ground. That means that you can expand into Canada hands-free. All right, so this just gives you an idea of what we can do for you and what you can do for yourself. Online arbitrage, access wholesale suppliers. You can even establish relationships with manufacturers. But all of this is also directing your orders from your Canadian suppliers to one of the Canada Prep and Fulfillment facilities. We will then prep, pack, and ship for you, going to Amazon FBA, or maybe you sell on Walmart Canada, maybe you sell Amazon FBM, maybe you sell on eBay, maybe you have a Shopify store, maybe you have some sort of e-commerce direct-to-customer situation going on. You can ship your inventory to us, where when your orders arrive, meaning we're connecting to your store, whether that's Amazon, it's Walmart, it's eBay, it's Shopify, whatever it may be, we connect our software to your store and we see your orders as they occur. Because we have your inventory, we pick, pack, and ship your orders every weekday. And so you'd be able to fulfill your orders to your Canadian customers without having to be running to the post office and trying to figure out what they're talking to you about with all the extra duties and taxes, or passing the responsibility for those duties and taxes to the customer, and therefore potentially losing out on sales because the customer may not want to be having to pay that extra, as they would perceive it, duty and tax. So as I said, we have 2 locations to support your business. Please visit us at our website. It's www.canadaprepandfulfillment.com. We have, between our 2 locations, shared administration. You at any time can choose the location closest to you or closest to where your product is being shipped to further minimize costs. Regardless, you can, for one shipment, use the Vancouver location and another shipment use Toronto. It does not matter. So yeah, visit our website for more details. So once you get to our website, please register with us. It's free, no cost. Once you're registered, you'll be able to review and follow the step-by-step instructions we have on our site. We hold your hand, so you don't have to worry you're not going to understand. We have instructions out on the website. And we also allow you to submit your shipment initiation requests on our website. So once you are all set up and you're placing your orders with your suppliers to come directly to one of our locations, you'd actually notify us of that shipment on our website. But there's more. You can learn how to source in Canada. I call it the quick way. You, hands down, can get bigger results in Canada. You may already be selling in the US. You also may already be selling in Canada. But to ramp up, to scale up your Canada business, add sources. So you may be almost exclusively having your products imported from the US or elsewhere in the world into Canada to sell in Canada. My encouragement in this presentation is that you add Canada as a source, faster to market, reduce costs, and get even bigger results than you're enjoying today. I'm offering a way for you to quick start. So I'm offering a 90-day program with 6 formal training sessions. It's an intimate, exclusive live teaching training. So because of that, it's limited in seats. But I believe in showing you what to do, giving you the background knowledge so that you can help yourself while I'm helping you. You understand so that you can do it yourself, but at the same time, providing you with real life sources and products for you to get started quickly. There's really so many products available within Canada to be sold to Canadians. Like I said, we're spread all across this massive country, and there's relatively few of us spread all over the place. So there is need for more product supplying available online. So with this course offering, I'll show you how to immediately put into practice what I'm teaching. Not you have to attend 4 sessions and then you may be able to maybe be able to do a shipment. It's out the gate. I'm actually supplying you with real sources as well as products to get you started, but you would be able to know how to find these additional suppliers beyond the ones that I'm providing to you and run from there. The e-commerce seller summit special is a 10% discount off of the course registration fee. And I'm hoping you take advantage of that because the kind of content that I'm providing in this course will make you, if applied, a great deal of money. There's no reason why your Amazon Canada business, and I'm just using Amazon Canada as an example, there's no reason why your Amazon Canada business isn't producing tens of thousands of dollars a month for you in sales. And in Canada, your profits, especially if you're sourcing those products from within Canada, your profits will be very good. Some people enjoy profits, net profits, as much as, 50%, 100%, 200%. I don't quote those percentages lightly, but because the high selling price, the price that products are selling for online can be so much higher than what you're sourcing the product for, um, you can enjoy really, really large profit margins relative to what you spent to source that product. So for the e-commerce seller summit special for this course offering, uh, if interested, please email me at Pauline at djexgroup.com. I will send you the course curriculum, an overview of the course so that you know the detailed contents, so you can make an informed decision, reserve your spot, and lock in your discount. Sourcing your products from the same places as everyone else to sell on the same marketplace as everyone else has just produced frustration. It's produced high competition. It's produced increasingly lower profit margins. So I challenge you to expand your thinking, expand your business beyond Amazon.com, expand your business beyond Walmart.com, third-party selling, sell in Canada, source in Canada as well. Thanks so much for your attention. I hope you got something out of that session. If you have questions about the course, again, please feel free to email me at Pauline at djexgroup.com. And then for shipment related questions, so here's where you want to make contact with Canada Prep and Fulfillment. Please feel free to email us at info@canadaprepandfulfillment.com. Thanks again for joining the session today. And I look forward to hearing from you and working with you to expand your business into Canada. Thank you.